Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me today on my first YouTube video. I hope you're doing well. I've been wanting to do long form video content for a while now. I've always been passionate about video making, so here we are. I'm honestly very shy, and also English isn't my first language, so that's why I've been postponing this, but yeah, I feel like it's time now. Today we are going to be talking a bit about art inspiration, and I want to take you with me on my art journey kinda while I work on skin coloring for this illustration here, which is actually very fitting for the topic. So this is Hylin, a beloved character from Witch, a comic that I used to love in my childhood. Comment down below if you remember Witch and who was your favorite. When I started with digital art around 2015, I used to draw a lot of anime-style characters, chibis, especially chibis, and actually my first commission consisted of Twitch emotes, which I used to draw in chibi style. After a couple of years though, I kinda started getting tired of emotes and I faced a bit of an art block. I wasn't sure what I was doing wrong. I didn't dislike my art, but I didn't like it either. So I kind of knew I had to make changes. I started out by making the nose slightly bigger and defining the shape more, then the lips, and at the end, the very last major change I made was the eyes. I used to draw them without an inner corner, very manga style, anime style, but I decided to try and close the inner corner, and that was the most important change for me. It reshaped the way I approached faces pretty much, and also brought me back to my childhood characters like Witch, for example. I realized that I wasn't looking into the right place for inspiration. The answer for me was way back to what I enjoyed as a child. That really changed my perspective. If you're in doubt with your art style, just look back. Maybe you will remember things that are buried in your memory, maybe things that you used to love. It might be even the smallest detail that you're looking for. After that realization, it was so obvious for me. I remember when I was around 10, I used to have comics or books, and I tried to replicate the illustrations with bad results, of course. So I thought, well, I need to draw and transform my art style to have those specific characteristics that make me happy. I know it can be hard. I used to do live streams in Italian, and the most asked question was, how do I find my art style? Of course, which is a question that doesn't really have an exact answer because it's so individual and personal. One thing I can say is that art style is something that you develop over time. You might not even realize it actually. For me, it wasn't immediate. I started looking back at my favorite childhood shows, all my favorite characters, and I took small steps to that direction. I'm sure more details of my art will change over time. I believe that's what makes us humans. If you feel stuck, another small suggestion is to look back at your first drawings. That always makes me feel better because I can see how much I improved during the years, and that's so helpful for me, and I'm sure it would be helpful for you too. That's why I always say never throw away or delete your old files. They will come to a good use in the future, and to see your improvement, it's very important, and that also helps you develop your art even more because you can see what you did wrong, quote unquote, of course wrong, and yes, that's very important, at least in my personal experience. Of course here all I'm talking about is my personal experience. Also guys, another very important thing that some of you may need to hear is to avoid comparing yourself to other artists. And let me explain better. Comparison can be helpful if you're using it to your advantage, to improve yourself, to reach your goals. But if you start comparing in a negative way, like saying to yourself, I'll never be as good, or I will never reach that level, that's just terrible. You're just bringing yourself down pretty much, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but I know how hard it can be, especially if you're just starting out. You just need to remember that you have your own journey and your own path, and while maybe you are at the start of the path, the artists you admire are way ahead. But they once were at the start too, that's the whole point, so don't rush it. Take your time, let your heart and your hand take their course. So today's topic is, of course, inspiration, but this can be applied to every aspect of art. For example, years ago, this was my main concern. I used to look at other drawings and I thought, wow, do you have such an amazing imagination? And this was definitely my main problem. Not that I thought I didn't have imagination, but I used to think that I was missing something, and I don't know why I thought I didn't have those capacities. That's just so stupid. Didn't really make sense. We all do. It's just we need to stop overthinking it too much. So, going back to our main topic, I know we all deal with art blocks sometimes, and let me tell you, the majority of the times, art block comes from being burned out, at least for me. When I am overworking or forcing myself to draw, it always happens. If you work in this field, though, there are times where there's nothing you can do about it. Maybe you have a deadline and you need to finish that piece. In those cases, what I do is I take a couple hours break and I just go for a walk. I go to the library, and the illustrations on the books always help me get that boost of inspiration back. I recently went to my local comic convention and I always find hidden gems there, and that's one of my favorite things to do. I'd love to know what is your main source of inspiration, guys, and if you find yourself in my little story here, I'm very curious. I know people find inspiration in a lot of different things, of course, and maybe we can give each other suggestions down below and try new things. If you follow me on Instagram, you may be familiar with my drawings already, and you know how much I love space-themed art. I'm so passionate about astronomy and physics, and I think that really reflects on my art. I always try to incorporate those elements in my drawings. I love everything sci-fi, and I love to draw futuristic characters. And if I wasn't an artist, I would probably be an astrophysicist. Who knows? I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I want to make more of this where I talk about a topic, something very light, because I want this to be a comfy space to talk about art and happy stuff and chill together. So this is the main format I had in mind. If you have suggestions for the next topic, let me know. I'd love to talk about commissions and starting out with commissions. I don't know. This video was kind of an introduction to get to know each other and also show you a bit of my drawing process that I hope you enjoyed too. I already post reels on my Instagram where I mainly do line art, but of course the time is very limited there. And also, I would love to make art vlogs where I show you my workflow and how I plan my day with commissions, etc. But let's see how it goes. Thank you so much for watching, and you can find all my links in the pinned comment below, and let me know your thoughts. I'll see you on Instagram or on my next video. Bye!